Hi, everybody. We here at McStabber Studios appreciate you tuning in to see our tabletop RPG streams. Some of the content of our streams may be a bit mature and cause emotional responses in viewers. We really take the well-being of our viewers very seriously, and we want you to do what you need to if something triggers you. Mute the stream, take a break, or just skip an episode. Otherwise, if you decide to stay tuned in, we are available in chat during the streams to talk you through it if you need that. Thank you so much, and we hope you enjoy this game session.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to McStabber Studios, Windy City After Dark. I almost said Wraith Life Derailed because, well, that was the last one we were playing, and that's how it is. I am, of course, the scatterbrained, as always, storyteller, Shanky McStabber.
I am Gavin, and I am playing Masquerade of Clan La Sombra.
I'm Relindare, Shanky's wife, and I am playing Jacqueline Durand, but her friends know her as Jackie of Clan Ventru.
I'm Urian, and I'm playing Roscoe Akers, Tremere.
I am Plunder, and I am playing Jonathan Fitzpatrick, also a Tremere.
And I'm Lady Mariwif, and I'm playing Eleanor Thurston, Clan Malkavian.
And Lifesaver, who's playing Destiny, of course. She'll be here shortly. She's getting some things set up on the road there, so she'll be here shortly. Don't worry. You'll get to ask her questions, too.
Yes, our Toreador.
We like to do these as a little intro to all the players that are going to be in the stream so that the guests can ask, or the players can ask each other questions, the viewers can ask questions about maybe what possessed them to sign up for a McStabber game, or even to ask me about some of the naughty things I plan to do to these people. And I have some naughty things planned, that's for sure. And that's really what these are, is just to give you a chance to talk about the characters before the game starts. Because once we're streaming the actual game, we're in chat because we pre-record so you can talk to us in chat, but you can't really get the full details that you can from a Q&A and a Meet the Cast thing. So that's why we like to do these. And I'm going to start off with the first question while the viewers figure out what they want to ask questions about. Verlyn does the question parts, but I'm going to ask each person, I want it to go around the table, why did you decide you wanted to play in Windy City After Dark? And we're going to start with, of course, Masquerade.
It was actually a friend who introduced me to McStabber Studios and was like, we should apply together. We should go ahead and play this game together. And then he quickly did not sign up. So I was like, all right, I'm going for it.
You were set up. Got it.
What a way to get roped into this.
Right?
You know what? We're happy for that.
We are very happy for that.
We're glad, because for those who don't understand, real quick, I'm going to go over this. We had 32 applicants for Windy City After Dark. The application process went through 3 rounds of interviews with role-playing scenes in each one to see how the players would work. And then after we had done 3 rounds of interviews, when we picked what we thought was the cast, we did a final full recorded rehearsal to make sure the table dynamic worked. So everyone that made it as either a player or one of our 11 scheduled guests went through round after round after round to make sure that that it would work. So gluttons for punishment, but I'm glad because, as you can see by the people we've selected, we've got some great people here.
I will say, though, for the 4 rounds everyone else at this table had to be in, Shanky and I had to be in 9, 10 rounds. So, yeah.
And you still got selected.
And I still got selected.
I just don't understand.
Of course, he has to sleep next to me, so, he might want to select me. But, yeah.
I mean, she actually talked, she wants to bring that up. She actually mentioned at one point, I don't know if I want to apply for Chicago because I want to give other people a chance to play. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you would be so pissed off if you weren't playing every week. She's like, okay, yeah, true. I was like, yeah,
true, but
busted.
I was trying to be the better person.
Yeah, no.
I was trying. Well, as far as why I would consistently sign up to play in my husband's games, knowing that everyone that has known me for any length of time through McStabber Studios knows that I call him the sadistic storyteller, is because I am a masochist and I enjoy the punishment. No, but really, I love his World of Darkness games. He's really a great World of Darkness storyteller because he and I are of the same mindset that World of Darkness, it's just everything is going to go bad. Everything that can go bad will go bad. And I love the challenge in his games because they are a bit Machiavellian and they are kind of just dark. And they challenge me to take my character and try to survive all the bad shit that will happen. And not only try to survive it, but the type of player that I am, I want to try to come out on top as much as I can. So it's always a good challenge with his games because he's wicked and devious and he's a spaz. So I never know when he's going to throw another plot twist on me, but I absolutely love the challenge of it.
Really? I mean, I'm a nice storyteller.
No.
It's your story. I just make sure every action has a consequence.
Let's not go there already. Let other people talk.
Okay, let's not lie. Okay. It's all you, Lance.
Yep. Well, I mean, thanks for that novella, Rillian.
You're welcome. I could write you a whole damn novel if you want.
I mean, you said pretty much everything, but, you know, after having my first chance in DC by Night with Shanky as a storyteller, that was just an incredibly awesome story to be a part of. And I wanted to try that again, you know, maybe a little different story this time.
This time it's not going to be chat filling up with, why are you like this, Steve?
We don't know that yet.
Oh, okay. My bad.
It's too early.
And as you can see, the lifesavers here is Destiny, so we'll let her answer. The question everyone answering is, why did you decide to sign up for a McStabber Studios vampire game?
Well, that's a good question. I love character building and making myself into another person. And I was super excited when I saw that there was the audition posted, and I was like, well, I mean, I might as well just throw my hat in the ring. I don't know if I'll get in, but at least I'll have fun doing it. And then here we are.
And for those that don't know, this is actually her first time playing vampire. Now, she's a very experienced role player, in a number of streams, but it's first time in vampire. So we put one brand new player at the group because that's always fun to shake up the dynamic.
Yes.
Hopefully I don't destroy things.
Oh, it will get destroyed. Don't worry.
Yes, it's World of Darkness. Congratulations.
With this crew, yeah. It's your turn, Plunder.
Well, after stumbling on this stream from Raylan's guest appearance on another channel that
you can say his name, Macabre Derek.
Mac,
we love Macabre Derek.
Yep.
We shout him out all the time.
And after learning how to play in the original Detroit that was not streamed and definitely not Twitch friendly, and I saw the opportunity and I had time to put to it. It was like, you know what? Let me sign up for it. And I only unnerved 2, possibly 3 people when I was making Jonathan.
Oh, you unnerved a lot of people. It's going to be great.
It's fucking awesome.
So much trouble in this coterie. Okay, I guess we're on Lady Mirrorwhip.
I guess it's my turn now. Huzzah! Well, I was introduced to Shanky and Raylan through a friend, and we played in Savannah by Night that had a few episodes here on their channel. And while we were playing that game, and I wasn't sure, I was like, oh, I don't know if I could do a Chicago game. I don't know if I'm good enough. And they were like, you need to apply. You need to apply. And I went, okay. So I did. And then now I'm here. Surprise.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
I will I'll let everyone know a little secret. After playing with Devin and Savannah, Bill and I both agreed that if she applied to Chicago, she was guaranteed a seat at the table.
Because we'd played with her, we already experienced her role playing. We'd been on the receiving end.
Her role play is freaking awesome. She's going to blow y'all's doors off.
She still went through all of the application process.
Yes,
Nobody shortcutted that, other than Rylin and Lance, because they, for those that don't understand, Rylin and Lance are the founding members of McStabber Studios. Lance, though not a streamer part of it, he has been supportive and been behind the channel the whole time. So he's one of our core people. He gets a spot in my game if he wants it in every game, but he doesn't ask to be in every game. Just the ones where I can really punish him.
Yeah, it seems that way.
And
he likes the pain.
he does. You're watching chat, Relyn, so you can
I
get
am.
questions.
Okay, so if y'all have questions, I'm going through chat.
There's one already.
Okay, hang on, I'm looking. Is that Union Station in Kansas City behind Lamar?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's for Ivy Raven Online, because she is also in Kansas.
Sweet.
Yes. Shade
Hello.
Moraquenda says, what do the players look forward to most from the game?
Let's start with this time. We went Lamar last time. Let's go ladies first. Eleanor.
Oh, first of all, I look forward to actually being a player because I'm so rarely ever get to play games. I'm usually a storyteller or DM. So looking forward to that. Also just looking forward to interacting, like having my character interact with all of everybody else's characters because they're all really interesting. And I'm so excited to see how everyone works together or doesn't. And what happens. I'm just really excited for that. Personal interaction is sort of my thing with role play, so I'm like, yes, give it to me, all of it.
Go ahead, Plunder. What are you looking forward to from the game?
Oh, I don't know. My family, maybe.
Are you going to tell anyone now who that family is, or are you going to wait till it comes up on stream? That's the question.
Well, it's kind of in my title card, so why not? My Revenant family. Julian and Celeste.
Mm-hmm.
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 Which is interesting that he's picked that particular backstory, which is going to be funny.
As soon as I saw it, I knew I had to take that lore sheet.
I think everyone at the table also picked a lore sheet
Mm-hmm.
of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is cool. I love the lore sheets from a storyteller. Now we'll go to Lifesaver. What about you?
Learning about the system because I've played a little bit of Chronicles of Darkness, but mostly Dungeons and Dragons is where I've been doing most of my role playing. So learning about the system, I'm super excited about because it's just so different. And then also interacting, like what Lady Merowith said, interacting with the other characters and seeing what kind of trouble Destiny is going to get herself into and how the hell I'm going to get out of it.
All the trouble. Your turn, Lance.
Again? Oh, well, I've been looking forward to, interacting with my new family. Also, just to see what Shanky can do to me. Because no matter how I try to get something done, he always manages to twist the story just a little bit that nothing ever comes to fruition. And he likes that.
I'm crushed. Never I guess it's on Relyn who's sitting there trying to figure out.
No, there's actually quite a few things that I'm looking forward to in the game. I'm really looking forward to telling Jackie's story because she's not the typical Ventrue. And that is something that I'm really looking forward to exploring. And the interaction with this new to her coterie is going to be really interesting. And basically how that plays into the story that she already had in her mind and how it may change things for her. That's going to be fun to explore. So.
For me, there are several things I'm looking forward to playing the V5 system. I've story told it a little bit so far, so being able to play it is something I've been looking forward to. And I also am definitely looking forward to seeing how Shanky runs things as an ST, but already I'm just already over here like I may suffer, but it will be worth every second of it. And
yeah. Oh yeah. Tell him who your Mala is so that you can understand what ammo you've given me.
Yes, my Mala is Tally, who's a paladin in the Sabbat, and he has been He is basically like one of the big boogeymen of the world of darkness. So being related to him is great. And I'm also looking forward to, because Lamar is a Lasombra, he is not part of the Camarilla, and he's been out killing Camarilla people for decades. So now he gets to come in and he's like, hey, we're cool, right?
So not
Sure,
cool.
so long as you're cool with what I did.
And for me, the thing I'm most looking forward to, honestly, for those that don't know, all the characters were created with my unique Session Zero method, which is not the standard Session Zero. There's a YouTube video. If you check our YouTube channel, you can watch how we do it uniquely. Everyone created the character, their whole Session Zero backstory, which covers from birth to embrace. We did it as a group so that everyone had input asking questions about each other's characters. I think everyone enjoyed that Session Zero method. It's not normal, but it seemed to work well. I know two of the people, we had to split it into two parts because of how long it took. Two of the people, after the first one was done, the ones that were doing the second half I had to go back and think up other things so I was ready because now I know what's coming.
Right.
But what I'm most looking forward to is actually, I can't wait for the start of this damn game because the way I plan to intro this shit is they're not a coterie as of yet. The very first episode is going to involve them summoned to a place where they're being told, guess what? You are now a coterie.
Wait a minute, isn't this for newbies?
Because you're being tasked with, you have a Toreador that has a surrogate sire of an Nosferatu that was recently presented to the court, and they feel that she needs to have interaction with High Clan members, of which there's three in this coterie.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a Lasombra who has paid the sacrifice to join the Camarilla. But that doesn't mean he's 100% trusted. So he's getting put in there so that the High Clans can watch them. And then the Malkavian is put in there basically to satisfy the Malkavian Primogen who says that if you're going to play this game, at least somebody from their clan needs to be part of it. And for those that haven't read Chicago, not many people get domains of their own. Most of the domains are, you can hunt one of 4 racks or your clan territory. That's it. But this coterie has been given their own domain just south of the rack, which means they have just hit the attention of a number of people in the city that don't have domains and are looking, going, why did this group get a domain?
Oops.
So I am immediately throwing them right in the middle of, they're paranoid, they don't know each other, they have to work together. They've got a brand new Toreador that's new, been recently presented. So as far as Camarilla is concerned, brand new. An untrustworthy Lasombra. There's some backstory issues with the 2 Tremere.
No.
One is ex-Sabbat, and one's an awakened mage that got turned.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's no longer able to use magic. So,
And Jackie reports to a Justicar.
She took the
I
Justicar lore
paid the
sheet.
price to get in.
You paid the price, but that doesn't make you 100% trusted because
It's true. But
it
I know
hasn't
where
been
my
a
loyalty
century
lies.
yet. And until you've been in a century, you're not part of the old boys group.
Yeah.
Jackie
halfway
is not
there.
an Archon. Somebody asked if she's an
No,
Archon.
her sire is an Archon,
Her sire is.
but she's actually just an agent of a Justicar. She's basically eyes and ears.
Her sire was in London last she heard.
Yep.
And she hasn't heard whether he survived the fall of London or
Which
not.
was 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm. So
So.
whether her sire's alive or not, she doesn't know yet.
So next question from Jonan for all the cast. What drew your interest to play the clans you selected for this game?
Let's start this time with the top right corner. We'll start with Destiny. Now, this being said, before we go into it, remember with my Session Zero method, everybody comes with 3 clans picked. And based on the choices made, that's who embraces them. Though, as everyone could say, you had more than enough input to decide where you went. But now we'll start with Destiny. What made her pick her clan?
I'm kind of a Toreador in real life. So that was one of the clans that I was interested in. Sorry, shut up, dog. And when I was going through the Session Zero method, I was like, I don't know enough about each of the clans beyond what I've read to really care one way or another. And I'd rather just tell a good story. So being the fact that I'm like a Toreador in real life is why I was initially drawn to that clan. And I'm super, super excited to play a Toreador.
Okay, Plunder?
Well, even though I have a tendency to choose Ventru, I was told that perhaps I could play a social Tremere. So I went about that route of doing it. And I am not your typical Tremere embrace either.
I don't think anyone in this group
Mm-mm.
is I mean, Lamar is not typical, honestly, with his backstory, but I think he's closer to Lamar and Eleanor are closer to at least what you normally see, even though Eleanor is more of the well, we'll let her describe when it comes to her about what type of Malkavian, because there's different types.
That's cool. Okay, so Eleanor? Lady Mira?
So when I came into session 0, I had my concept was for a CRS or seer type character. And so I came in with clans matching that. Malkavian was one of them. And then as the session 0 started and Shanky was asking questions, I was like, let's just run with this weirdness and just go with it. It was like really early on. And I was like, yep, I could see this being Malkavian like right down the line. So that's how we ended up there. But it was really a lot of fun. Like there was some really interesting kind of weird things that turned out as we were doing the questions and the answers.
And I am sorry to tell everyone that is not to be streamed. I did record it for the player's reference, but we're not streaming the session 0 because it would spoiler so much.
Mm-hmm.
So many spoilers. All kinds of spoilers.
All kinds of spoilers. All right, Lance?
Well, one of my choices were Lazambra or Tremere coming into it. And Shanky was telling me, well, there's going to be 3 other Lazambra in the Coterie, so okay.
Everyone just about had Lazambra on their list, almost.
Or Tremere.
Or Tremere, yeah.
Right, so, I sort of played the edges of a Lazambra in DC by Night, and I wanted to try a different clan this time. I mean, it would be completely different, and that's why I chose it.
And I know we had talked before you went into session 0, and after our discussions talking about the different type of Tremere you could be, I think when we had the idea of you being an awakened mage that got turned, I think that kind of hit you. That was an interesting angle.
Right.
And as far as mine, with Jackie, I came into the session 0 with 3 clans. It was going to be Toreador, Ventru, or Ministry, because I already had the concept in mind that my character was going to become a courtesan. And a courtesan would fit into either of those 3 clans, depending on which way I took her career. So, and I will touch more base on that with the next question, but I'm going to let Lamar answer his.
I came into things with Lazambra, Venture, and Tremere as my choices, I believe. And my friends know I like the bad guys, the villains. So once we started talking, Lazambra really just jumped out at me, and I liked the idea of being the former bad guy who's trying to get in with the good guys, so to speak. So,
and you were a ghoul, unbeknownst. You were a ghoul for years, didn't even realize it.
Okay, so next up is Mitwad wants to know to all what drew you to the character that was embraced. So this isn't your clan, this is your character concept. What part of your mind said, this is the character I want to show during this chronicle? And also he had a second question of what reasons did your sire, if any, have for choosing you? Which Shanky may be better off answering that as we discuss our character, as to why he decided our sire chose us.
Yeah, that would fit. So who's going to go first? I'll let Relin pick this time because, I picked last time.
Let's let Lance go first. Get used to talking more.
No, I don't like it. No, Roscoe's based a lot on my own family history, and some of my own things, just learning about. I mean, I never looked into mage, but that sort of thing seemed intriguing, so I just thought I'd build a character around that. As for
your sire, when we were doing his session 0, He was apprenticed to a mage, and who would embrace an apprenticed mage? And I was like, it's an ultimate fuck you for a Tremere to do it, because they are the usurper clan that was mages that became vampires and lost access to the magic. And in his case, his sire is actually Helena Taylor from DC by Night. She's actually in the source book. She was in love with a mage at one point. Her apprentice, when she was a mage before she was embraced, because she was an awakened. And I figured it was a perfect chance with that one to tie in a little bit of the DC stuff that went on with her coming and killing his teacher for interfering her business, and then her realizing that Roscoe reminds her of her apprentice that she was in love with. And for those that see DC by Night, there's a whole backstory part of that was covered in a vignette. And that's why that she chose him, was that reminder, that thing. And as time went with the two, she realized that he's not her Trevor, though she called him Trevor quite a bit. And so the two have, I mean, they're still friendly, but he struck out on his own from the DC Chantry to try to make a name for himself and to pursue his own studies that may or may not always match what the Tremere feel he should be studying.
For Jackie, I came into this with a backstory of a woman that was born at the beginning of the Belle Epoque period in Paris. And I knew I was going to have her eventually become a courtesan, but she didn't start off doing sex work. She was middle class, and then she ended up, her father passed away while she was a preteen, and as soon as she was able to work, she went to work with her mother and sister in a textile factory. By the time she was of age and majority at the time, which is about 16 or so, she was pregnant, and she had to leave her job. So she ended up getting work at a less notorious cabaret in Paris as a performer. Her first baby died in infancy. Then she got pregnant again within a year, and that baby survived, but she needed more money. So she went and approached her boss at the cabaret, and he suggested that she entertain wealthy patrons of the cabaret. So she did, and she got into sex work and went from there and caught the eye of a well-off courtesan and ended up apprenticing with her for some time. And then when that courtesan retired, she took over that courtesan's patrons and made a name for herself. And she ended up becoming a very successful and well-known courtesan in Paris.
And for her sire, it was interesting. As we're going through the session 0, she had started to be a noted courtesan. Now, of course, she refused to use her inside knowledge from being a courtesan to corrupt others. That's why she didn't get ministry. It was really down to Torador and Ventrue. And there was a scene where she had met Victoria Ash's daughter. And it was interesting, but Victoria Ash took an interest in her because her daughter had invited her to this event, and it was curious to Victoria about why her daughter would find an interest in this. And she was given a token from Victoria Ash, a rose to wear, which would mark her as a potential Torador prospect, or at a minimum, Torador property. Well, she also came under the gaze of Ventrue, who wasn't really that friendly with Victoria Ash.
A Ventrue diplomat.
He wasn't very friendly with it. And he had done his homework on her and had been keeping an eye on her and realized that, he could thumb his nose at Victoria Ash and her child, and at the same time add somebody to Tremere or Ventrue that would be useful, because it was obvious that she had she was smart, she was able to survive, she was able to leverage coming from nothing and becoming a force. And that's why he picked her. And it was her who chose to be sired by him, because in the end, if he hadn't sired her, she was going to be embraced in the line of Victoria Ash.
Mm-hmm.
That was just the only way around it.
And I loved how we led into that siring, because he had the sire basically proposition Jackie, and she told him, "Dance with me while I make up my mind." I loved that. That was awesome.
Yep. Yep. So now it's Lamar.
With Lamar, I wanted to play someone, I wanted to play a young man who, grew up in Chicago. He's the only native of the group. And for him, his life has always been about trying to level up. And after his father passed away, his mother married a police officer who treated him poorly. And he got into organized crime, but he was also he also comes from a family of devout Catholics. So kind of playing that juxtaposition of doing bad things and yet still trying to be a righteous person, that appealed to me. And then as he goes through life, he rises in the ranks, but every time someone, he has to make a choice between staying where he is or moving someone out of his way, he picks the latter, and yet he still tries to keep that core of faith, which is also, I think, what attracted to him to the Sabbat, because of the religious iconography that they use. And that him, his sire actually found was he actually confessed many of his sins to his future sire, which I thought was
hiding
great.
out in the church as one of the priests, and he would take confessions.
Yeah, and from the end, Lamar was ready to go pretty much the moment he said, "Are you in?" He's like, "I'm in."
Yeah, because the priest in that case, he was using the confessions to gather information, of course, because this is Sabbat Lasambre in Chicago before, any of the current events. So they were still at war with Camarilla. So that was where he's laid low and just gathered info. And for Lamar in the gang side of things and the mafia and organized crime, it was a great source of info. And then he offered Lamar a special sacrament in the back room, which was a blood bond. And Lamar took it. And from then on, I think you were pretty much sealed Lasambre, because the Lasambre wasn't going to let you go. At that point, you'd been bonded to him. And once you were embraced, of course, you spent a little time in Chicago, but your background of you're willing to do whatever it takes to get ahead and to accomplish what your goals are, sets you involved in the sec wars. So you're going to see, I'm not going to reveal it all, but Lamar has spent a lot of time up and down the East Coast and a lot of time in places fighting the Sabbat's war for them. So he's come to the Camarilla, though he's paid the sacrifice. His back end is messy. There's some secrets in there he probably doesn't want revealed and hope doesn't come out. They probably will. And that really ties him to, he's, this conflicted part of him where he tries to be religious and hold his faith, but he does horrible things. Horrible things to get ahead.
And one thing I just want to touch on real quick before we move on to the others is, for the reasoning why I chose the backstory I did for Jackie, is because, especially in World of Darkness, but in games in general and even in society, there is a very skewed perspective of sex work and sex workers. And I wanted to portray one in this game streamed that debunks a lot of the misinformation about it. So I saw it as a perfect opportunity to do that.
So now I guess we're on Destiny up there.
So Destiny's kind of a workhorse. She, from a very young age, was working and hustling and doing everything she could to kind of get ahead in her own way. And I really liked that aspect where she was going to college and auditioning and catching the eye of a Tory door casting director and just surviving basically on the streets, even as a very young kid. Her mom was a drug addict, and I'm excited to explore that aspect of her backstory as well, because the drug addict mother definitely has tied into how Destiny sees the world and sees humans and what she wants to do to them and for them.
And you spent a lot of time getting uprooted all of a sudden, moving dramatically,
yes. So
any warning, just boom, move.
Yep. So we'll see how that works out and how good she is at adapting to sudden changes, because she had to do it a lot when she was a human.
Mm-hmm.
And from the sire perspective, Destiny really came down to two choices. It was going to be Nosferatu or Toreador. Because she had been, I'm not going to say friends, but she'd been being watched by Nosferatu that saw her kind heart at a younger age and had a shared love of animals, kind of a thing. And it came down to a single event. And in the event, it was the way she went that determined how the embrace goes. I can't reveal all of it because some of it's rather spoily. But suffice it to say, after being embraced Toreador, her sire was killed, and she was raised by a Nosferatu in New York right as the war with the Sabbat started. So there's a chance that Lamar may have been involved somewhere in there at some point, but she was raised on the battle street. So while she is a very young kindred, she's and 10th generation, she has a lot more experience than some kindred because she was caught right in the middle of the start of the Sabbat War.
Legitimately battleborn.
Right. She was forged and fired to where either you survived or you fucking got good.
Mm-hmm.
That was your two choices. Before her sire fled New York with the fall of New York, which essentially it broke into pieces. And he went back to Chicago where he was going anyway eventually and brought her with him so that he could continue to raise her as a payback of a boon to her fallen sire. And so she is a Toreador that's been raised by Nosferatu. And
She's
for the
prominent.
yeah,
And now we're going to have to fix it.
by the view of a Ventru prince and a Toreador primogen such as Annabelle, she is a Toreador that has been corrupted and not taught the proper ways.
Yes.
And which is interesting. So that's going to be some great story. Now we'll go to Plunder.
No. I always like the idea of like turn of the century, upper middle class, upper class Southern families. So that's what I based Jonathan's upbringing on, but with a slight twist. He does have some roots in the old country of jolly old England. Spent some time there as a young man. Dabbled in a little, well, would have been looked down upon at the time, but for academic purposes, it was acceptable. And yeah, I kind of went with that.
And your sire, first of all, you were a member of Skull and Bones.
Mm-hmm.
Not a recent member, one of the older, a while ago. And that alone brought you to the attention of the Tremere, of course, because either Tremere or Ventru keep an eye on that group.
Mm-hmm.
But because you like to dabble your ass in
Occult matters.
And for some reason, you could see once in a while, you saw a Nosferatu once when he shouldn't have been seen.
And the flames too, so.
And it kind of drew attention. Now, your friend was a ghoul of a Tremere who you might say that since he was your friend, he was keeping an eye on you and appraising his master of what you could do. And then you became a lawyer and were willing to leverage and to make that work for you. And from the Tremere's point of view, you were bringing in, of course, money, but you were disciplined. You understood structure, though it didn't pay off the way they hoped on that part. And that's why you were embraced into Tremere.
Yeah. Tremere.
Yeah. Well, you are Tremere.
A little twist. A little twist. House Goretrix was how I was embraced.
Mm-hmm.
I made up for it in the end.
Yes, she did. And now we're on Eleanor, which is an interesting Valcavia character. That was a fun session 0.
Oh, it was so fun. It was so great. One of the things, well, there's a lot that's interesting about Eleanor, but she's sort of wrapped up in a lot of motifs that I particularly like as far as characters go. And like one of them, really big one, is having visions, and then the understanding or misunderstanding that goes with when you have prophetic dreams and visions. And at a very, very young age, she had dreams and visions. She could see ghosts and spirits. She, you know, when you're a little kid, you just say things, you know, like stuff and things, and nobody really got her. And it just sort of snowballed from there. She, you know, predicted the death of her mother and her newborn sibling, which nobody wanted to listen to her about that, which really upset her. So she has a lot of psychological damage from trying to help people with her visions or help herself. And that just doesn't happen. She had a favorite doll that talked to her, that told her secrets, and that she could tell and use as a confidant for, you know, what was going on in her life. Because, you know, her father, after her mother passed, you know, her father didn't listen to her. You know, obviously the servants weren't listening to her. Like, nobody listened. Like, it was just, you're weird. You're doing weird things. Stop being weird. Until finally they had to put her away in a lunatic asylum because she was such a problem child that she had mania and hysteria, and let's just stick her in there. She was 12 years old, and let's just, you know, kind of forget about her because she's causing all of these problems, and it's just no. And at the time that she was in a lunatic asylum, it was before things got really bad. Not to say that things couldn't be bad, but historically speaking, things weren't quite as horrible. But then she was there when things were getting horrible. And of course, her powers just don't go away. They're still there, and she's still saying weird things, but then also has to learn to not say weird things. But now she doesn't have her doll that she can keep, you know, as a confidant. So we've got to find ways to work around this, to speak to that. And before Shanky gives some insight on her sire, who's quite lovely, I want to address, I saw it show up in the chat about mental illness and Malkavians. That is an angle that obviously is happening here. It's not just the prophetic thing, but that angle, I want to treat it with compassion and understanding, and not as a joke, because that's 0% okay. Kind of her angle there, and her sort of thing is on an obsessive compulsive disorder side of things. And that is something that I actually have and have to work with every day. And I hope that, you know, I can kind of debunk some OCD stuff at the same time that I'm playing this character as well. And maybe, weirdly, maybe it could be cathartic. Who knows?
Could be. Your sire was an interesting one for me because right off you started talking about you heard voices and things like that. And the very first thing I thought was, what if one of her dolls talks to her, but it's not her doll? What if it's just somebody using the doll? For a kid, wouldn't understand that if a Malkavian's crouched down behind the doll talking, it's not coming out of the doll, actually. It's coming from them. And that started my brain turning as we're going through this session 0. And I started thinking, well, if that's the sire, why would the sire talk through a doll instead of just talk to Eleanor? And I got this mental idea of the sire was not, as a mortal, wasn't comfortable with who they were. And they became kindred. And for those that don't understand, when you're an old enough kindred, gender doesn't matter if you're old enough. It's when you have centuries, what does it matter? It's just something somebody else puts on a sheet somewhere. And they decided that they were living, because of the vampire condition of death, that they always hide behind a mask, because that's what kindred do. And they took it to the next level. So Eleanor has seen her sire in their true form one time. That was at a brace. The rest of the time, the sire is always in a mask of some kind or talking through objects, because the only time they reveal their true self is when they kill. And to be embraced is to kill you and then turn you. Eleanor's sire is, they're they, them, of course, but they have aspects of both genders, and we lost somebody, but they'll come back, so we'll give her a second here. It works out in that case, and I think it was a great angle to go with it, that they took an interest in this child who would talk back. Now I got to reorder everybody. See what I got to do? Killing me. I believe always in taking Malkavian serious. I personally have an issue with those who take Malkavians as a joke, because they're not a joke. They're not meant to be funny. Some people think of them as funny, but they're not funny, and they shouldn't be taken funny. And I did like the direction that Lady Mirwif went with hers, because it's not funny, and the sire is a very serious subject, because the sire is not one that I think you could call amusing in any way. The sire murdered the hell out of one of the doctors at the asylum who was mistreating individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Solely because of the love for who was going to be their child. So I think it works pretty well overall.
I love it.
Yeah, it was so good. These session zeros were so good, just so good.
Everybody's was really great.
Yeah. All right. Next question is from Sylvanov. How do Jonathan and Roscoe feel about working with Lamar? And vice versa. How does Lamar feel about working with a pair of ladder-climbing Tremere?
Now, they haven't met each other officially yet, though there's some crossover story that's will come out later that they don't, that the players may know about, but the characters don't.
Mm-hmm.
So not too spoilery, but I'm not sure. I know we haven't played it yet, but I'm pretty sure both Jonathan and Roscoe have an idea of how they're going to feel about being stuck with a Tremere, especially given, Roscoe's backstory of he was caught in
stuck
DC
with a
during
Tremere,
the war.
you mean
Lasombra. Because Roscoe was in DC right at the fall of Vitel, which means right when the Sabbat War kicked off in DC. So he's fought the Sabbat before.
Yeah.
So,
and I was in the area at the time as well.
So
Looking into
Jackie was there right before the fall.
I was still there after. It was a way to prove my loyalty.
Mm-hmm. So how does Roscoe and Jonathan feel about Lamar, an ex-Sabbat knight? You could essentially say he was one of the knights. He was there fighting on the front lines with him.
Well, like I said, it's going to be a little tense starting off. I'll give him a chance. He's supposed to be one of the good guys now.
He paid the sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. And as far as ladder climbing, that's not me.
No, you're knowledge searching, aren't you?
Yeah.
How about Jonathan?
I know your secrets, Lamar. I know them well. Perhaps better than even you know them. And as far as the ladder climbing, I am more of also somewhat like Roscoe. I think I'm more of a seeker of knowledge than I am a ladder climber, but I am very much a loyalist to the Chantry and the Camarilla.
Now, how does Lamar feel stuck with?
Mm-hmm.
Lamar's already got some ideas on how Tremere work in the first place, so he thinks he knows what to expect. He's definitely hanging on to that whole hey, I paid the cost, I'm in. You know, anything I did before this, you can't get me for.
Okay.
But so yeah, that's definitely something he's going to lean on. But he also knows he's no slouch in the he's no slouch in the throwdown department. He's had to move people out of the way before, and he wants this coterie to succeed, because when they succeed, he succeeds, and
don't get in the way of his future.
Don't get in the way of his future. And he's like, I came from a clan that ran the Sabbat for a long time. He's like, it's not going to be a cakewalk, but this is going to be a lot easier when people have to play by rules. So
that is a fair point.
Mm-hmm.
And Lamar knows some individuals of this clan, not from the same side of the war, from opposite ends of the war, though not everyone remembers Lamar. So this will be a very interesting as these come forward later on. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a lot of damn fun. I'll be honest. That's going to be fun.
Roland Cade asked to all, which characters' secrets are most likely to have the coterie fighting for their unlives first?
Okay, now don't tell the secret, But whose secret do you think is going to make them fighting for the lives first? That's an opinion piece, I guess. I mean, Eleanor doesn't have any big secrets. Neither does Destiny. Destiny's just born from a Toreador.
Not we good.
Roscoe doesn't have a big secret. I mean, it's no secret he's a former awake. Well, it's not generally known.
But it's not a secret.
But some people understand.
Right.
Probably be me.
Oh, no. And possibly Jackie ran across him before he was embraced in Paris.
Jackie's going to run around town wearing a Toreador brooch that was given to her by Victoria
Jackie's
Ash.
probably going to be the one that's got everybody running for their own lives because she literally, out of spite, wears the brooch that Victoria Ash gave her.
So she still wears the Toreador pin, the brooch that was given to her by Victoria Ash, even though she was stolen.
I
out from under the
legit
Toreador.
bought a jeweled brooch prop to wear on stream so that she will be wearing this brooch all the damn time.
I don't know. There's something about a former Sabbat Inquisitor that's in New York in the Chantry might cause problems.
You know, maybe.
I think,
Maybe.
honestly, everyone has some secrets except Eleanor's is actually one of the I've got all the real dirt. Everyone has something that they should worry about a little bit, except Eleanor.
We all
Eleanor's the one
have
going,
secrets except for Eleanor.
Eleanor's the one going, except Eleanor's secrets is prophecy.
Yeah.
A dangerous thing in Chicago.
That is dangerous. That's dangerous in any kindred society because if it gets in the wrong hands, she will be used and abused.
And I made it,
Yes.
even though Eleanor doesn't have a backstory full of, secrets to hide, I made sure that I gave Eleanor in her what she knows about Chicago kindred some very dangerous info that she has on hand that could cause problems if the wrong person finds out she knows this. So,
Yep.
Of course, I think a lot of people have some odd info in their characters and people they know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Ivy Raven Online asks, this is for the Lifesaver. Do you feel that the constraints of Toreador culture will hold you back? Or is what we know of your backstory actually an advantage in this regard in your eyes anyway?
I mean, I think it's probably going to be an advantage because, I mean, she's a Toreador, but she actually knows nothing about Toreador society because she's been raised by a Nos. So what restraints? There's no constraints. She's just destiny being destiny.
Jackie's going to have so many fucking questions.
Yeah, Eleanor's got some questions
many
too.
Questions
And the first time a Nos is on stream, there's one particular Nos that refers to her as the pretty Nos.
The pretty
It's
Nos.
going to really be funny.
Mm-hmm. The pretty Nos.
It's the pretty one of us.
And
She
even
was the
Destiny
adopted
has some
pretty Nos.
inside info that she's got to be careful if she shares because, it's
Mhm.
dangerous to share secrets.
Oh, we all do. We all have dangerous info.
Yeah.
We can't share secrets. Pinky promise.
Pinky promise.
Pinky promise.
Pinky promise. No, that's the people who didn't, that they weren't part of the Session Zero. She had a friend that she knew from LA that they pinky promised not to tell, in Destiny's case, that she was talking to a guy that was in the sewer. And in her friend's case, that she was talking to a guy in a cemetery by the name of Gary Golden.
Mm-hmm.
And her friend was embraced Nosferatu. Though she hasn't heard from her but once when she was told that she wouldn't be able to talk a while. That friend is going to come up, of course, because, Gary Golden, I had to put a tie-in. If she was in LA, there was going to be a damn, LA tie-in somewhere, and Gary Golden is a classic to use. So her friend will show up again to see the pretty Nos at some point.
Okay, and Mitwad, I will ask your question, but I'm not sure we know the answer to it yet, as we have not played our first session. That will happen tomorrow, so probably that would be better addressed later, but I'll go ahead and ask it anyway. Mitwad wants to know, for Lamar, does he feel he is treated better than the average Kaitif or Thin Blood, as normally they are treated worse than slaves or subhumans? And Lamar is, for all intent, a traitor to the Sabbat.
Yeah, here in the Camarilla, there's some respect on the whole High Clan thing, which Clan La Sombra is, and I mean, a lot of them aren't going to see it that way, but a lot of the older ones will understand that. I think for Lamar, he's gonna have he's gonna have to play it by ear and see how they treat him, but he can actually tell you where his blood comes from, unlike those dirty types. So,
and it's from a storyteller perspective, it should say something that you're being put in a coterie with other high clans.
Mm-hmm.
Half the coterie is a high clan. Actually, over half the coterie is a high clan.
Mm-hmm.
And Thin Bloods don't have fucking domains.
No.
The only coteries they have are ones that they've clawed from themselves. They don't have any real status in Chicago right now, other than Marcel, who's ministry, who speaks for them as an advisor, friend of the court to the Camarilla Court of Chicago. So while he may get looked down on a bit by some individuals as traitors, others, honestly, that want to curry favor with Prince Jackson will 100% not treat him like shit, because Prince Jackson says they have paid their price. They are part of the court of this Camarilla in Chicago, and to treat them accordingly. To treat them another way is to cause disfavor. You don't want that to get out, because, I mean, this is what the prince has said. So the ones that are hurting are the Tremere in some ways, because they've lost their primagency. There is no Tremere primogen in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not sure if this question initially came from Pond Circles or Primal Platypus, but we will ask for both of them. What are your relationships with your sires like? And says maybe this is being saved to come out in game, but if we feel like answering them, we can. I'll take that one first if you'd like, while y'all consider. Jackie had a good relationship with her sire. I haven't confirmed this with Shanky yet, but very likely at various times they have been lovers. But he's been missing since the fall of London. And she is concerned because they've never gone that long without communicating.
So let's see. Let's go with the easy ones. Lamar, how's your relationship with your sire?
Well, initially, I think there was a lot of respect there. There was a lot of respect and some admiration there. As time went on, and Lamar, rose up through the ranks and basically earned his stripes, he started to, like, the shine kind of fell off the rose, but he still respected his sire for what he did for him. But when it came time to, put up or shut up, his sire didn't want to go along with with going into the Camarilla. And Lamar's like, this is, my future is this way, got in the way of his future, and had to get him out of the way.
You've set a pattern for that if somebody's in your way and you think they are, they're not in your way much longer.
Yep.
Let's see how Roscoe and his sire is, because his sire's still in D.C.
Mm-hmm. Well, at the time of being embraced, I didn't really have much of a choice between the two. It was either accept the embrace or, die. Final death. So I picked being embraced. I wasn't exactly happy with my sire, with Helena, but after I got over that, which I did in fairly quick order, I could see that the gift that it was, and I was actually grateful to her. And so we have a friendly relationship. I mean, I don't know that we would ever be lovers, because, well, that's not really a thing for kindred.
Well, and you're not Trevor.
Right, exactly. But we are on friendly basis, and we get along.
Yep. And I mean, you had a difference of opinion about, she felt you should study only what is normal Tremere,
Right.
but that doesn't mean if you don't like each other. It's just you figured you'd get out from under to do your thing. Plus, DC isn't a good place even now. I mean, now Vitel's in Baltimore, because the DC by night canon that from our stream is canon for this stream. So in Windy City After Dark, Vitel has been relocated to Baltimore. DC is currently run by Karina Dobson of Clan Ventru. She is the Prince of DC.
As she should be.
Helena Taylor has, after a year disappeared, returned, which Roscoe didn't know where she went for that year, but she has returned to the Chantry, and that's all lore. So,
And she's now regent of the Chantry.
She's now the regent. Yep. Let's have this fun one. Hey, Destiny, how is your relationship with your sire?
Delilah the Toreador died, I think. Not really quite sure exactly what happened there. So, before I was embraced, my relationship with Delilah was great. But then the whole war thing happened. So Martin, my adopted sire, he's like the father figure that I never had in real life. He's great. I love him.
Yep. I figured that, and Martin is, for those that don't understand, he's actually a canon character from Chicago Folios, who I've used. And he's an interesting Nosferatu in a lot of ways. Still a typical Nos in some ways, but he's different in others. So, Jonathan, let's see how your sire thing is.
Oh, it was beautiful for the first 40 years. And then when I found out she was an infernalist, he kind of was going through that whole fluid thing. Well, I knew I had to get out because power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. So on the end of a stake, she was presented to the Prince of New Orleans. And, well, that is how I made my entrance into the Ivory Tower.
So this coterie actually has 2 members who sacrificed their own sires as the price of admission to the Camarilla.
So I never actually got this confirmed from the Session Zero. Is your sire dead?
Oh, yes. Presented with a stake, the sire is gone.
Just wanted to make sure.
Steak
Pretty
and bake,
sure.
baby.
I thought so, but I didn't want to assume. Yeah.
Infernalist.
Yeah.
Oscoratrix.
Yeah. Steak and bake.
Yeah.
Just
pretty much
I wanted to
guaranteed to be
confirm
true.
because I need to make sure I have the relationship map right. But
And on the relationship map thing, we will eventually actually share that on our Discord. So if you're on our Discord, you may get to see it if you're a viewer and actually see this crazy ass relationship map.
It is crazy. The webs we weave.
Yep. But that's for the Discord members. You'd have to be on the Discord to do it. And as a matter of fact, I'll do that right now.
And then Lady Mirwiff.
Yep.
Relationship with Eleanor and her sire.
Eleanor loves her sire. They have a great relationship. They've always had a great relationship. This probably is a little bit unusual, generally speaking, but her sire was for a very, very long time her best friend and is probably still her best friend. And she has 2 best friends. One is her sire, one is Jackie.
And the funny
best
thing about
people in the world.
The funny thing about your sire is you never know when they'll show up. By your sire's point of view, you have been around long enough, you can take time to be independent. You don't know when they'll show up. But normally when they show up for a reason.
Yep. They always do come back.
Yes, they do.
It might be a while, but they always come back.
And they come back for something because they also have the gift of vision.
Aww.
Okay, so Artemis, I want to say this right. Artemis Lee Ka, I think is the way we say this. Other than your own, who has your favorite backstory?
Let's start with Plunder.
I would actually say Eleanor's I enjoyed the most. The whole dynamic with the Dolly, that was just great.
Thank you.
I still find it funny that your sire you call Dolly. And your sire accepts that as a name because when you met them, they were speaking through the doll.
Yep. They were Dolly, and then Dolly transcended from the Dolly body.
So fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, who's your favorites, Eleanor?
Gosh, that's everybody has such a great backstory. It's so hard to choose the favorite. I'm not going to choose a favorite. I'm going to say I like everyone's. I like Roscoe's because that whole, like, you know, the having that magic and then having to make that non-choice and it being taken away. Jackie had, like, you know, working up from the bottom to get the life she wanted and then sticking it to the Tremere. And I mean, not the Tremere, the Toreador, and like the most.
I have a feeling that'll be a meme.
It's like the most like tippy top power move that you could possibly do. That's just like amazing. Lamar just like
party she was hosting.
Not just to the Toreador, to the child of Victoria Ash.
Right. Yeah. Like
and her child
power
was
move.
the Keeper of Elysium in London.
And she still wears that thing. It's so perfect.
Evil.
Lamar, just like, get out of my way. I got shit to do, man.
Yes,
like,
Lamar is a fucking freight train.
And the whole thing with like confessing, and that's just really cool. But just get out of my way. I got shit to get done. Destiny with this, like, coming in on this life and then boom, war. And okay, I guess I'm a Toreador living with Nosferatu now. Like, it just awesome.
There's a sitcom in there somewhere.
How's that clan bang going for you there, Destiny?
It would be. I've got a lot of questions. And then Jonathan
Martin he loves sculpture. His apron is full of sculptures that are beautiful.
But he lives in a sewer. Or
no, he does not. He does not actually live in the sewer.
Oh, okay, well, he hangs out.
Okay, well, that's good.
I mean, they're useful to get around cities. I mean, you know. And then Jonathan over here with his like, you know, high rolling upper class. Like, I've got this the flames thing.
So 1%er.
Yeah, and then just this whole like, okay, this is life. Also, steak and bake. Here's sorry. I would like to be in the tower now.
Yes.
It's like just like terrifying. Like, I was gonna say like low key terrifying, but actually I don't think that's true. It's like really high key terrifying. Like, he's like up there with Lamar, like with like the level of terrifying.
I feel like Jackie's gonna be like, "What the fuck are y'all sticking me with?"
No, Jackie's going to be like, who the fuck did I piss off?
Exactly.
Damn it, Annabelle.
Yeah.
Annabelle pulling strings to punish me.
Ash.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just coming down the line.
And look at what happened. Jacqueline pissed off the Victoria Ash and she didn't get invited to the Vermilion wedding.
Oh, well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Roscoe, your turn.
Oh, man. Hard to choose because everybody's is great, really. I laugh at Johnny's background because he's probably one of those creepy, posh English children that Tiss has to mentor from time to time.
Maybe. Hail Raleigh.
As a great Tiss reference.
Oh, shit.
Someone clip that. Somebody in the chat clip that, please, so I can send it to Tiss. Because Tiss needs to know this.
And I summon the eye of Nirhulflep.
Tiss
The
needs
elder
to hear
gods
that.
all on the outside of the universe, you know, just bring all of it to an end.
So, Berlin's turn?
Oh, God. I mean, I legit love everybody's exactly for the reason that Lady Merwiff said, but I will say if I had to pick one as a favorite, I'd have to say it's Destiny's. That's a good damn backstory. It really is.
Man, there's a lot of spoilery shit that we can't talk about here that's going to be just when it happens.
It's fucking
gonna be
rich,
happening.
y'all. It's rich with the fucking drama, and I love it.
It's funny, she's a first-time vampire player, but god damn it, she got into the drama quick. Lamar?
Where I live in bees.
I mean, I loved everyone's, and everyone's like kind of stuck with me like in two words, like Jackie's was ooh girl with the whole with the whole Victoria Ash drama. Roscoe's was damn bro, like because, it's like you had magic and then you let it and then you got rid of it. Now it's like you got to start. It's like starting from the bottom,
Yep.
but at least you're in Clan Tremere. Destiny was the precious cinnamon roll. It's like, someone hug that child. She had to spend all her time with Nas. Hug that child, somebody, please. Jonathan, I mean, I loved his backstory, but it was just like, oh, you're that guy. He's definitely that guy.
What do you mean, Lamar?
And Eleanor, just, with, just how much, the relationship between her and her sire was very much like heart bubbles, like big time.
Especially from all the trauma she went through.
Yes.
Oh,
So yeah, like everybody's backstory really stuck out to me for those reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny, your turn. Oh, wait a minute, I was muted. Your turn, Destiny.
So like pretty much everybody, I love everyone's backstory so much, but I think if I had to choose one person that is like the tip top, I'm gonna go with Lamar because he is just ice cold.
Yes.
Oh God,
he's the Iceman for real.
My future.
Yeah, we don't want to get in the way of his future.
He is
might
definitely
end
playing
badly.
the no fucks freight train.
Oh my God. It is so good.
Yep. As storyteller, I love everyone's backstory. That's why we do the session 0 method that we did, because everyone feels attached to the other players, because in some ways they all had a say in the character that got made, because they were asking questions as well about how they would react in certain situations, or if this happened and that happened. But if I had to pick one, not going to lie, I'm really looking forward to how much I can fuck up Lamar.
So Lamar is the team favorite, okay?
Lamar has some stuff in his backstory, and the fact that he's Tally's Mala.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From a
This is
story
great.
perspective.
Not it.
Not it.
Yeah, Tally's Mala from a story
Abuse somebody else
perspective.
for once.
Now, no one in the Coterie knows he's his Mala. But one
I
of the
only know it
delegates-
as outside of character because I'm doing the relationship map.
But from a perspective of the delegation sent by the Lasombra, one of the Lasombra in the delegation is Tally's child.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that have the Chicago book, understands Tally is in Chicago. Everyone doesn't know this. He's hiding out. He hasn't told anyone. Matter of fact, if you read the book, he actually, in the adventure part of Chicago by Night, he tells the Prince of Camarilla that maybe he'll stop by Chicago at some time. But Tally's actually there. So this is going to be great from a story perspective. It's going to be awesome. And I have a feeling at some point I may put in our guest channel for the Discord, who wants to play Tally?
Oh, Jesus, watch
And I
him
think there's going
flock
to be
to
a fight
that.
for people wanting to play Tally because it's fucking Tally.
All right, Combustion Girl asks for Shanky. Any chance of a cameo or more than a cameo by Killian Roche while we are in Windy City?
Killian, after the events of Chicago,
Savannah.
or Savannah, has returned to Chicago. That's all I'm going to say. Capone is thought dead. But is he? We'll find out, because Killian is in Chicago. He is back.
And Ivy Raven asks, is our boy Twitch coming back, or did they relocate to Baltimore as was hinted?
Your boy Twitch will be back. I don't know what form I'm going to have him take. We've had him as a homeless person who sits on the street and does a pirate TV broadcast. We've had him like a used car salesman. I don't know what form yet, but Twitch will be back as part of our intro, where he talks about the events of the previous week. For the first week, he'll probably be there talking about, rumors he's heard about what's going on in the city. So for those who haven't seen what everyone calls your boy Twitch, it's just a little bit I record at the start of each episode that is me as everyone assumes Malkavian, or everyone at first assumed Nosferatu, then they assumed Malkavian, but he's never really admitted his clan yet. But he takes on different personalities to hide in the city he's in, and he snitches on what Kindred are doing constantly. It's really a way to sum up an episode, what's gone on previously, so that people who missed an episode at least know a general idea of what happened. And he's coming back.
I think it's Happy Jack.
It's fun. It was just a thing I made as a joke. It originally started as a recording from an idea that Vancouver by Night had about a little cross promotion where he was doing Ezekiel. And then it just kind of morphed from there into me doing full videos and with the UHF screwed up TV. And now it's become a thing that he appeared in Haunted Chronicles. He was embraced during the Haunted Chronicles during the plague. So, yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah, Artemis Lika says, so I have to catch up on 2 streams to get all the ins and outs of vampires. Technically, no, because the story is just starting, so you'll be able to get a lot of what we're referencing as you watch us play. But if you would like to, we do have back episodes of DC by Night and Savannah by Night on YouTube.
Yep, and though I said DC by Night is canon, anytime it gets referenced, there'll generally be explanations because most of the coterie here is not
from DC.
Actually, none of the coterie has been in DC since the events of DC by Night.
Right.
So if they get referenced, there'll be time to explain what you're seeing.
It.
So that'll work that way at least. Any other questions? Anyone got a question? Any of the players got a question for everybody else? This is your chance to really get some shots in, or even a question for me.
I was going to ask who you wanted to mess with the most, but you already said that. So,
I'm going to mess with. No, if you want to know who I'm going to mess with the most, I've got to say, first of all, it's going to be great with the Jackie's backstory about her being. She took the Justicar lore sheet. She's an informant because for anyone who's read Chicago by Night, there is Archons in Chicago. It is a whole gang called the Wolf Pack. That's a gang of gangrel
that hang out at a biker bar. So Jackie's going to have to be slumming it at a biker bar when she's transferring information to her Justicar.
Because if there's an Archon in the city that is established, I have decided that she was told to pass her information through the Wolf Pack. So she gets to go meet with a bunch of fucking bikers.
I'm like, okay, how am I going to spin this? Maybe Jackie's bored with the artists and the power mongers, and now she wants to go for a walk on the wild side.
That's awesome. And Tyrus is he's a bit homicidal. He's been in Kindred a while, and he's fucking not
that could be fun.
So, yeah. And he's not on the best side of the prince at the moment either. So this is going to be a lot of fucking fun. It's going to be great. I've got, if anyone, I don't want to reveal the things only they know. Everyone has something I can fuck with them with.
Everybody.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And the way I run a Chronicle, for those who haven't watched DC by Night, is it's a player-driven story. The players decide what to do. If they don't want to leave their haven, then they fucking don't.
Jackie may not ever leave her haven.
But the city goes on without them. So shit's going to go on in the city, whether they do things or not. Some will be plots against them. Some will be plots they could possibly work with. If they don't explore and do things, they won't be part of any of that shit. So the direction the coterie takes is going to determine a lot of how they get fucked with. Because actions have consequences. And even the SPCs, the ones that I run in the city, they have consequences for the actions too. And they do not operate omnipotently. They operate on the information that character knows. So they're encouraged to do things and get out, but this is a street level game, not a high politics game.
Mm-hmm.
But even at street level, shit's dangerous. There's a little politics at street level. They have a domain in a city where not many people get a domain.
Because of course we're
I have
fucked.
my feelings while we're right beside the rack. I have my feelings.
Literally, their domain touches one of the racks.
Mm-hmm.
Which means poaching is going to be a problem.
It's going to be a big fucking problem.
Yeah.
Jayville asks, hold up, y'all in DC? Yes, we are in DC.
Shanky and I are.
Yeah, we ran DC by Night for about
Lance is nearby. Yeah.
We ran DC by Night. We streamed it for about 10 months, I think, roughly. 50 episodes.
Yeah.
And it was all because the players at DC by Night all knew DC because we all were around DC. That's on our YouTube channel. You can catch up on all 50 episodes. It's like 38 regular episodes and around 12 or 13 vignettes, which are short midweek episodes we were doing. Matter of fact, if you look at the vignettes, there's a bit about Roscoe Sire in one of them, where you find out
Yep.
a little bit of info
About her and her lover, Trevor.
about her lover.
Mm.
So yeah, 3 of us are actually around DC: Roscoe, Jackie, and myself. But I'm not from Chicago. I don't know Chicago. So for those of you in the chat that are from Chicago, this is going to be my version of Chicago, which may not match realistically. It's World of Darkness. That's the way this shit is.
Yep.
But I've always wanted to do a Chicago game because the depth of lore in Chicago exceeds any other city in the U.S. I mean, no other city in the U.S. has the depth of lore that they've put out for Chicago, and that's why I wanted to do it.
Been in like every edition of Vampire so far, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
because it's the crown
like the
jewel of
capital
North America.
Yeah, it's the capital of North America, Camarilla.
And for me personally, I started with Vampire in V1. The only place, the initial setting for V1 was Chicago. And that was my roots. That's what I started with. So now I'm back to it after 20 some odd years, almost 30 years now. I'm back to my roots of Chicago. So this is going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else got questions? Viewers, players?
I'm actually going to bounce off of what you just said, Shanky. I'd like to know when everybody here got into Vampire the Masquerade and why.
Mine will go. I'll go first on this one. It's pretty easy. 93 is when I got into it. We were supposed to play Dungeons and Dragons last night, my group. My buddy brought over a Vampire the Masquerade book. He said, "Hey, let's play this." And I'm like, "Cool. Who's running it?" He goes, "You are." Wait a minute. What? Okay, I guess so. I had 30 minutes to read the book, and we were starting to create characters. And that's how I got my session 0. So, because I skimmed that section and misconstrued what it said. I actually played all the way up to 95. 99. In 99, I left the Army. And when I left the Army, I quit playing because I had no players. And I took a 20-year break. I did not play again until February of 2019 when I saw LA by Night on. I'd been watching some Vampire streams, but I saw LA by Night. Was watching Sounds of Silence by Roll For It. Saw those, and I'm like, holy shit, we got to play some Vampire. And Berlin will tell you her half of it. And 6 months after watching those 2, I realized I could stream it. And that's how where I'm at now.
Yeah. And bouncing off of that, from my perspective, because I am married to Shanky, we've been married for 16 years. And October 13th was our anniversary. But yeah, and so basically, he showed me LA by Night, and I was like, okay, that's cool. But then we started watching Roll For It's first season of Chicago. I think it's now, Sounds of Silence?
Sound of Silence.
Yeah, but it was something else they called the first season. And I was like, oh my God, I so have to play this game. And because, between watching LA by Night and then Roll For It, I was like, holy hell, this looks like so much fun. I'd never played a tabletop role-play game in my life. No, I take that back. One time we played, it was some edition
of
Shadowrun. No, we tried
something. D&D 4th edition for like half hour. And then
for like a half hour, and we were all done because it sucked.
Oh, the video game.
But yeah. But anyway, so I did try that years ago with my stepkids, with his older kids. And I was like, no, that's not going to work. But so I really hadn't touched tabletop RPGs. I'd had background in video game RPGs. I'd had background in online muds and mushes, text-based RPGs, that kind of stuff. But I'd never done tabletop RPG. Growing up where I did, at the time I did, it was the devil's work, and it just wasn't ever talked about. Okay. It was, going to let Satan into your heart if you played that shit. So yeah, you can't do that. So I never knew anybody that played. Otherwise, I would have played younger, but I just never knew. So I saw it and I'm like, we got to play this. So that was February of 2019. I created my first character. It was Lily Sanger of Clan Toreador, played her in DC by Night. We started streaming her in September of 2019.
And before anyone asks, Berlin was a big fan of Bubbernot and Lil Red Dot on
Yes.
Sounds of Silence.
Love those two.
She loved watching the interactions of
those
Bubs
two.
and Dot. Those two were just back and forth. She loved watching that
I
shit.
love those two.
So who's next? Who wants to go next? We already heard. We can do Lifesavers real quick because she can tell you how much Vampire she's done.
0. I've done role playing though. I've been on other streams, D&D streams, and I've been a recurring guest on Haunted Chronicles. So it's not my first World of Darkness, Chronicles of Darkness endeavor. But this is my very, very first VTM.
Okay, Lamar, you had one?
I have this history of getting set up by people. So a friend of mine, I saw the Green Marble, I think it was the third ed vampire book on his bookshelf. And this is back when I lived in Vegas. I saw it and he's like, hey, you ever play? And I'm like, no, I haven't. He's like, hey, take the book home, take a look at it, bring it back next week. And if you like it, we'll set something up. He moved the following day, and I didn't find out until I went back that week to give him back the book. And our mutual friend goes, yeah, he left the day after you did. And he moved to the East Coast. So I now own a vampire book. And so from there, I love the book, but I could not even think of asking my friends at the time to play because none of them, all of them would have just looked at me like, dude, what are you doing? It's like, this is for nerds. So I did meet a group of people that played World of Darkness, and they became the group that I played with. World of Darkness, got into D&D with them, and for the past 19 or so years. And so this is my first game where I'm branching out and playing with new people.
Yay.
And I got into Vampire pretty much by accident. Someone set me up.
On the playing with new people, at one point, people were wondering whether we were going to have just the cast of DC return and with the guests from DC. But one of the beauties of running a stream and having a Discord channel and all is getting to play with people you don't normally play with. And that's why you see we've brought a whole bunch of different people that haven't really gotten a chance to play with each other. Because
at least not beyond short games or one shots, that kind of stuff.
Because that is what makes it fun. New people, different table dynamic, different games. And Right. So who's next?
I guess I'll go. In the past, I'd played Traveler, D&D, and then for a couple of years prior to DC by Night, Pathfinder. And Bill just said, hey, I'm thinking about running this vampire game. Do you want to play with us? And I have no idea what this is like. And he's like, well, World of Darkness is nothing like Pathfinder. Why don't you watch LI by Night a couple of times? And I did. And I'd like, Shanky, I can't play like that. I'm not an actor. I can't do that. And he's like, no, you'll be fine.
Nobody here's an actor. We're fine.
Yeah, that was my mistake that he, thought he'd have to play like. I'm like, dude, they're actors. They're professionals. They get paid to act.
Ignore that. Pay attention to the story.
And I will comment, you made your very first vampire character. I could tell you were a Pathfinder player because you went Kaitif and you got celerity, fortitude, and potence.
Right.
The 3 combat abilities.
3 combat abilities.
That is a trope for a reason.
And in Vampire, if you get to combat, you probably done messed up.
Right, exactly. Yep.
That's the damn
And we
choice.
wonder why it's Steve Perry. Why are you like this?
No, it's Steve Perry. Why are you like this? Because after playing enough games, he started to get a feel for his character, and he realized his characters made bad decisions. So he made a conscious effort to make the worst decision given one.
Every time.
Would always pick the worst one because that's the pattern he set, and that's being in character.
And now he's playing a different character.
And he even told me,
Thank goodness.
He goes, I know that the choices I'm making are horrible, but that's what Steve would do.
Why do I have a feeling it's all going to be, why are you like this, Plunder?
I have no idea what you mean.
What choice keeps me safe? I do the opposite.
So now we're on Eleanor. What about you?
I actually came at Vampire a little bit backwards, way back in 1999 or 2000, somewhere
right
in
when
there.
I was quitting. Got it.
Right about when you were quitting. The video game Vampire: The Masquerade Redemption came out, and I picked that up like off the shelf in a store because I was like, "This looks cool." Like, I don't know, looks like fun. And then I was like, "Wait, this is really cool. Wait, this is based on a tabletop game." And I bought the books, and I was super into it. And I had the art book. I still have it somewhere, like from the late 90s, early 2000s. And it was this whole thing. None of my friends cared. Nobody wanted to try playing with me ever, and I finally gave up on it. until I saw LA by Night. I came to LA by Night late, didn't realize it was a thing. So I started watching that late. And then I went, wait, Vampires Back is cool again? Like, people like this? Like, holy crap, what? And then I talked some of my friends into playing V5 because I got all that stuff and I got super into it and I wouldn't shut up about it. And so I like roped my friends into playing with me. And then I ended up playing with other people. After 20 years, I finally found my people, I guess.
Oh, you found your people.
You found your people.
It's funny you talk, we bring up LA by Night and everything. Critical Role, I will say, is what brought RPGs mainstream. But I would have never come back to the hobby if not for LA by Night and streams like Sounds of Silence. I'll be frank. That is the fucking truth. Because those streams, I watched them, I'm like, damn, I used to have fun playing RPGs because I'd been taking a break for 20 years. And then I saw streams and I'm going, I think I could do that. I think I could stream it. And it's people like Vampires of Vino and Mathis, who was running the Sounds of Silence. I admit I take inspiration from people like Pinoy Boy from Near Dark, because watching them stream, I get little tips, I pick up little things, but it's just great seeing different people doing their thing. B. Dave, the animated way he storytells is not my style. I'm not that animated, but watching how much you can tell the emotion, how much he cares and loves it. It's these streamers that inspire me to be where I am. So, it's funny. That's why you'll see McStabber Studios don't mind mentioning other streams in our streams, because if not for other streams,
we wouldn't be here. Period. Plunder.
I even talk about Macabre Derek, by the way. I bring him up a lot because I've tried to model a lot of my dark shit off of Macabre Derek because he is dark. And visceral.
He is emotionally visceral.
Yes. And I try to
have
pick
no
up from
experience
him too.
with that. No, I'm just kidding. So when it comes to my role-playing experience, I too, like Raylan and like Shanky, grew up in the South, where anything that was D&D or tabletop role-playing was that's of the devil. And you're worshiping Satan if you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I waited until I was 18 in the military. And of course, there's a lot of people that play D&D and whatnot in the military. That's how I finally got into D&D when second edition was phasing out. Third edition had just started. Well, actually 3 and 3.5. It was kind of weird because they were still making for both. I have no idea why. Skipped over fourth. Had been working multiple jobs, so kind of got out of the hobby for a little bit, but got back into it. And I happened to find Macabre Derek in a random stream one day because I was going to run a D&D game. So I got in with him, started talking to him, ran my little game. Then he was like, hey, have you ever been interested in Vampire? And I was like, hell yes, I've just never had a chance to play it. Now, this was about 4 years ago. This is where we made Detroit 1.0, where I became the primogen of the one-man clan for my very first game.
Oh, God.
Clan fucking Gangrel at that.
How fun is it, your very first game, becoming primogen? I had that happen,
God,
too.
It was horrifying.
Isn't it horrible?
It was horrible.
It is horrible.
I managed,
horrible.
though,
Never happened.
as a Gangrel, I managed to lie the entire primogen council. And
could have been worse.
all
You
of
could have
them
been a
except for
primogen
the
as a Kaiti.
freaking Toreador. Oh, man.
Oh, God. Being a primogen,
She's
your
like, "That's a
first game,
dangerous
you
game you'll
learn
play."
you never want to play that again.
It's
No.
a
Like,
great
yeah.
way to shell shock them into not playing primogen again.
Yeah, no.
Solves that ambition right there.
I was, yeah.
Mistakes
And I've
were
actually
made. I won't do
ST'd
that
a bit.
again.
I was actually in Max Group, the first person to run a V5 game. I ran it about a week or two after it launched. Ran a short chronicle. It was kind of fun. And then, just kind of pop in and out here and there. But yeah.
Yep.
And then this popped up. So it's like, hey, let me have some fun here doing this.
Yeah.
It's funny because the other streams you've been on our channel, because you've been in one shots, have always been comedy streams where shit's just gone bonkers, off the rail, silly shenanigans.
Yeah, he does
And-
great comedy.
And
I just like the darker stuff.
people watching, seeing it, laughing, and we're going, But Plunder isn't just comedy. He's fucking dark as fuck.
He's devious, y'all. Devious.
So, some pretty funny shit.
I don't know what you mean.
I love
I'm a
you
nice
for
guy.
it. All right. So Artemis Lika asks, any advice for people who are just starting to role play, even if they've played the game and get the mechanics? Okay, so I'm going to actually address that as a relatively newer role player in general. Watch other role players.
Mm-hmm.
Watch them, watch streams, pay attention to how they emote their characters, pay attention to how they communicate with their characters, pay attention with how they interact with other players. You know, just watch streams of people role playing. You will get inspiration for characters. Lily was inspired from other people playing Toreador. It wasn't a carbon copy, but it was inspired because I watched other people playing Toreador to get a better understanding of how to represent that clan as a player. Let's see.
Hang on, I'll add to that though. When you watch other role players, you got to understand the spectrum of tabletop games. There is what I call pure actual play, which is a group of friends at a table, cameras on, whether they're on or not. But you'll see a lot of table talk, not as much in-character role play. It's just a group of friends having a good time. Then you have the other side of the thing of performance play, which is where you get to LA by Night, where it's all character all the time. Just because you watch performance play doesn't mean you play at that level. You have to find where in that zone you're comfortable being.
Yeah, find your niche.
Right, because McStabber Studios, we are more in the middle of that. We don't have as much table talk, but it's an actual play with a lot of performance elements. If you watch like Near Dark is further towards performance play than actual play. Mm-hmm. And you got to find what works for you and who you're playing with. So watch other streams, but understand that range is totally valid. There's nothing wrong with a pure table actual play. There's nothing wrong with pure performance play.
It's all in
Find out what you want to play.
Mm-hmm.
And once you figure out what you want to play, watch a lot of those kind of streams.
We just like to go a little theatrical here.
We do.
Some of us might be ex-drama kids, okay? Okay. And then there was a follow-up from Artemis Lika about any advice for a first-time ST. And I know you've given this advice a few times, Shanky, but just give a brief summary of your advice.
I can give you that. There's other STs here can also give advice, but my advice is always the same thing. First, don't be afraid to try. That's the first. Second, watch other storytellers. When I started storytelling, there was no streaming. So you went into a storyteller or a dungeon master and you had almost no chance of having somebody to watch to show how they did it. Watch streamers. Watch Jason Carl. Watch Matthias. Watch Macabre Derek. Watch all these other streams. Vancouver by Night. Watch these people. Ellie from Atlanta by Night. Look how they storytell, but don't try to be them. You can watch Matt Mercer. Don't try to be Matt Mercer. You can't. You'll never be somebody else. Watch them. See what you think would work for you, what won't. Adopt that to your style, but be your own storyteller. But there's nothing wrong with watching, DC by Night or Windy City After Dark and getting an idea and say, I like that story. Take that story, make it your own. DC by Night had shit, I admit, I took right out of Roll for it and tweaked to be my own because that's what storytellers do anyway. You're never coming up with original. Don't just blatantly rip everything out of them and make a duplicate, but you could take their ideas and tweak them your own. The whole madam of DC that lived in her tower, that is straight Roll for It season 1. That turned into a major character of mine. Mm-hmm. So watch these people. Watch Haunted Chronicles, Haunted Macaroni. Watch
Macaroni.
How they storytell. Watch Tiss. Watch these people.
Watch the one-shots we have because we have a variety of storytellers. Hell, I even ran my very first game ever with Bluebeard's Bride recently on the 16th for charity, and I was actually complimented on the fact I could do descriptions incredibly well. And so basically, these are all things that you can pull from watching other people's storyteller GM is, you learn that, okay, this one, like me, I'm good at descriptions. Shanky's really good at managing multiple characters at a time.
And managing stupid silly,
stupid amounts of
complicated
story
plot lines.
threads and shit. And he keeps it all straight somehow in that magnificent, beautiful mess of a mind he has. And, and then other people do really well with like character voices, or other people do really well with, dynamics and stuff like that. I mean, you'll pick up stuff from other people.
And Tamsh, you said I didn't mention myself.
Yeah.
You're already watching me now. So why would I mention myself when you're already fucking watching me?
No, Shanky is very good at, he's the spider in the web. That's what he's really good at. He's exceptionally good at improv. And he's who you want to watch if you want to learn improv.
If you want to allow your players to do whatever the fuck they want and somehow be able to roll with it, I'm good at improv. I suck at voices.
Excellent.
I suck at
improv.
accents. But I can roll 90% of my chronicles are improv.
Yep.
And I admit it.
We make choices as players for things we want to do, and he's like, okay, so you're doing that. This is what happens.
Yep. And yep. And that's my thing on it. So I know we have other storytellers here, so if they have advice, they can go ahead too.
Absolutely.
I would second what Shanky said. Like, watch other storytellers, other DMs, and kind of see how they do it, and then play with it. Like, find a group of people that you want to play with, and then just try things out. Like, experimentation is like, it's not a bad thing. You're not going to be perfect your first time out. Like, you might be pretty good. Like, the first time I DM'd, everyone told me what a great job I was doing. And I was like, I don't know, that seems really sucky. But of course I was comparing myself to people that I was watching on stream. But I mean, just play with things, try things out. Some things aren't going to work. Some things you're going to find work really well. Steal like an artist, like Shanky was saying, like find plot hooks or ideas that you like and then just stick it. And it can be from other streams or other games. It can be out of like the rule books. It could be out of completely different stuff. You can steal stuff from movies or whatever. Just like put it in there and try it out and see. And I would say too is follow your players. Like if you have first time players, they may need some leading, but to like learn what to do. But really follow them and see what they want to do with a story, because I think the worst thing you could do as a storyteller or a DM is to, I see you, pawn circles, hush.
Railroad?
Yeah, railroading, or like trying to, like, if you as a storyteller, like, I really want to do like a lot of role play and a lot of, character interaction, but your players are super not into that, it's going to be a bad experience for everyone, or at least a disappointing experience.
Never forget, it's their story, not yours.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're really...
It's theirs.
Exactly.
And be open to taking feedback from your players.
Yes.
That is ultimately important. There needs to be two-way communication between GMs and players as far as what's good, what needs improvement, that kind of stuff, because that's how you make a great game.
Yep.
Is that communication.
As I used to say at the beginning, join us on our Discord. Talk about the games cast. If you want to pop on a Discord, just say, hey, Stanky, you suck as a storyteller. Go ahead. It don't hurt my feelings. That's just, your opinion. You can think that. I'm fine with it. So take feedback. It's important. And if your feedback, people's feedback to me is I suck, well, okay, cool. How can I improve it? Let me see what you got an opinion for improving it then.
The best advice I can give, and it's because I didn't follow it when I started playing, is make sure the players are talking with the ST about what their thoughts and their plans are.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least it gives them some idea of where they might go. So that way the ST can be more prepared. Even if it's spur of the moment of something, they can be more prepared for that kind of line of the character going in that direction. Also, you'll find as an ST, if you're wanting to kind of steer someone into playing a certain way because they're wanting to, it makes it easier if you're bouncing ideas back off of each other. So
that is a very good tip. That is something I know I personally do with Shanky when I play in his games a lot. I bounce ideas off of him. Like I'm thinking with my character, I want to do this. What do you think? Do you think this is a reasonable expectation? Do you think this is a reasonable goal? This kind of stuff.
It was brought up in chat about expectations. Yes.
Expectations are important.
Everyone here that applied for Windy City After Dark will know I laid out what type of game I run from the start and told people, if you don't want to play in that kind of game, you will want to withdraw your application because this is the style game I run. But it's the player story and all. And some people said, well, what if we want to do this? Well, go ahead. But understand in the framework of what kind of story I tell, like my specific example is vampire romance. If you want to go
Twilight,
if you want to go Twilight interview with a vampire style romances, I've got bad news. This is World of Darkness. It's going to end horribly. It's not going to be, chipmunks and rainbows. If you have a lover and anyone finds out, every one of your enemies are going after your lover. Every one of their enemies is going after you. Period. That's how vampires
is more of a vampire than the ones in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that just set that expectation. Make sure everybody knows to go in. As I told people about combat, if you make a combat-heavy character, I will include a lot of combat, or at least enough combat so that you get to shine, because every player gets to shine. But if nobody makes a combat character, then the only time we're going to have combat is when y'all fuck up and the story dictates there's going to be combat, because the story will tell you when it occurs rather than me saying, this person hasn't had a chance to shine. Let's give them some combat. Because you want to make sure every character gets a chance to be in the zone to show what they can do. So,
and another thing I really recommend is using the consent forms.
Oh, yes.
Because the consent checklists that are now available for role-playing games they are great because it gets everybody on the same page as to what things are just not acceptable in a game.
And I know some people don't like the consent forms, but
they are actually a very good tool.
Yeah.
Keeps you from getting in trouble.
And it also makes sure that you're going in with the same idea of what kind of stories you want to tell with the players.
With the right players who have the right limitations.
Because if your whole storyline involves a bunch of kids who are getting abused and you've got players who red box that, they're not going to have fun, you're not going to have fun, then you need to change your story or pick players accordingly. Yeah. And an example for Wraith, there was a very specific story I wanted to tell for our Wraith stream, and we used the consent forms as part of the filter to make sure that the story we wanted to tell for Wraith, we had players that were willing
to play that
story. I killed everybody the first episode of Wraith.
Right, and it was in a mass casualty event. Right. And so basically it was one of those things that was something we included on our consent checklist is if you are triggered by mass casualty events. And those who were who red boxed it weren't the right people to play in our game.
And for Wraith, you're talking the Shadow. It's player PvP against each other in some ways as the Shadow, where you have players at the table actively have to try to sabotage other players while they're in the shadow role. Some people aren't comfortable with that. And you don't want them as a player because they're not going to have fun when the shadow starts doing mean shit.
Right, because the shadow knows.
Right. Yep. And that's, you have to do that.
I think we need to... Oh, go ahead. Please.
Bouncing off what Shanky said, both for a player and perspective ST, I think it's super important to have the players talk to each other as well. So when because sometimes players need a connection or, a way to to find a way to for the group to gel. Some people like having interpersonal beef that's in character. Others prefer to have, all the characters know each other and work well with each other. And I think it's important to establish that up front because you don't want to get in the game and then have people trying to backstab each other, and then it creates hard feelings out of character too.
Because that was something with this game. We're like, okay, inter-coterie drama may be a thing. Are you okay with this? And we're like, yes.
Suddenly we have 2 ex-Sabbat members.
I know, right?
And that was,
Jesus
and that was something I talked about during the interview is inter-coterie drama is great. No, don't literally throw them under a bus and get them killed because that's not fun for the stream. But inter-coterie tensions, inter-coterie drama, that's great.
That's fantastic.
You need some of that. That's great story. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's great story. Because this group is not all going to like each other.
Oh, no.
Everyone's going to love Destiny. That's it. Just everyone's going to love Destiny. Eleanor's going to be the kid sister of everybody, even though she's older than half of them. But still.
Oh, no, her and Jackie are best friends. Jackie claimed her first.
Me and Roscoe are the middle children.
But as far as, for inspirations and ST first time, know your players, know the table. The biggest thing I can advise the biggest thing, don't be afraid to take criticism.
Yeah.
Because it can only make you better. Now, of course, some people are just assholes. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Just because they have a complaint doesn't mean it's a valid complaint. But listen to it. And, learn to read a table. That's important too.
Mm-hmm.
If your players start looking bored, you need to figure out why and correct the issue, whether it's you got to throw something at them as a curveball or you got to fuck with them or you're just not telling an interesting story to them. And I was guilty of that a lot 20 years ago when I used to play because I was younger and hadn't learned. So, But as a storyteller, know what story you can tell. You'll notice this is a Camarilla game. DC was a Camarilla game. I don't tell Anarch stories. I'm not good at that.
No.
It's not my thing. I don't tell Sabbat at all as a direct story. It's not my thing. I run Camarilla games with Sabbat members, apparently.
With Sabbat members.
Ex-Sabbat. Ex-Sabbat.
They claim
made the
that.
sacrifice.
They claim that.
I paid the cover to get in.
Look, for 50 years, I have been doing the right thing.
Yeah, but as I said, until you've been on the good side for 100 years, they still consider you suspect.
Still your
'Cause,
suspect.
I know, but if I can prove my loyalty and show throughout the years that I am a loyal.
All right, guys,
Any other questions? I
we're
think
going to
we're about
wrap
done.
it, I think. Because
Yeah,
it's been about 2
wrap up,
hours.
2 hours. We got to record tomorrow. For those that don't understand how, when I'm running a stream, if it's Wraith or Vampire, we pre-record our episodes. We do this for a few reasons. One of them is if we have to red card, we can stop the recording and the viewers aren't stuck with a break when there shouldn't be a break because that interrupts for the viewers the flow of the story. It's also done so that all the members of the cast, or as many can make it because real life we're adults, are in the chat and we can talk to the viewers while the episode airs. So if you watch our episodes, they're pre-recorded for Vampire, but you can talk with us. We'll be in chat. We'll give you behind-the-scenes tips sometimes, a little sneak peek. Sometimes we just tell you how we felt on the scene and how pissed we are about something. But we are recording our first episode tomorrow night, which will air next week, Sunday, right at this time slot at 5 p.m. Eastern. And it's going to be a wild fucking ride. Going to be a wild ride. This is going to be a fun first episode to record because
Oh my God.
the Coterie don't even know each other.
Nope.
If you like what we're doing, join us on our Discord. We cast our shows from the Discord. So if you're a member of the Discord, you'll see casting calls go up. Some of them are full applications like this. Some of them are just whoever wants to sign up can play. We do a combination of both. We've got what I feel is a great Discord. Everyone's real supportive. We have a good old time. Everyone's kind of friendly. My brain's frying. Wednesday or Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. We have Haunted Chronicles, though this week it's their monthly Darker Waters cast, which is a 7th Sea pirate game, or Life on the 7 Seas, because they're not that piratey. Check out our friends over here.
We also have on Saturday a special one-shot of Call of Cthulhu run by Tiss. It is at 1 p.m. Eastern during the previous time that Ishvel was run. When Ishvel returns in November, it'll be on at 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays.
Yep.
So that's a time change for them. Instead of 1 p.m. Eastern, it's 3 p.m. Eastern.
And this Friday, we've got... No, next Friday, not this
That's
Friday, the
next
following
week.
Friday, we've got a werewolf part 2 of our one shot.
The finale of our one shot, which ended up being a two shot. So
this week, if you're on our Discord, we post our schedule every week in the Discord. If you come to our channel when we're offline and pull it up, you'll see our schedule because we use that as our off screen. If you want to watch other great content, check out our friends here. One of them was in chat a second ago, Macabre Derek.
Yep.
He does a vampire stream at 8:30 Eastern time on Sundays. So after this is over, get you some dinner and then head over his way and
to
watch
his
his show.
channel and watch his.
Yep.
It's emotionally visceral.
It's emotionally visceral. You got RPG Table. That's Junie. She's on Saturdays with Vampire. We don't get to watch her often because it's during Tiss's D&D time slot, but it's still great to see. I'm looking through some of these others. Vancouver by Night. He's on Saturday nights.
Sanguine Nights is on Wednesday.
Wednesday, I think it's around 5 p.m. Eastern. He's a New Orleans by Night vampire game, which is great. The Anime Panda, you see her on Haunted Chronicles. She does random streams of body painting, a D&D game, those kind of things. I think she's taking a break right now from streaming some.
Yeah.
But
And then, of course, Q Times, they put out great content.
Everyone should know Q Times.
Yeah, like every day of the week.
B-Dave's on there with his Seattle, or not Seattle, Long Beach by night, and does a couple shows. They got a Clear Skies Monday night that's Star Trek
RPG.
A whole bunch of great stuff there. If you want to see our back content, go to YouTube. Please, if you're in chat now, look at those links. Pop over to the Haunted Chronicles and Ishvale YouTubes. Give them a subscribe on YouTube. Because once they get 100 subscribers on YouTube,
it's free.
And we can shorten their URL and not be summoning Cthulhu, we are doing a giveaway of 2 $30 drive-through RPG cards live on a stream. So once they both are at 100 subscribers on YouTube, we will give away 2 $30 drive-through RPG gift cards.
We want to give away free money.
Yeah, free shit from...
Please, go do a free click on subscribe for 2 channels on YouTube so we can give you money.
Yeah, free to you, not to us. We're going to pay for it.
We will pay for it.
That's fine.
You get money to spend on cool tabletop shit.
Yep. I know I'm forgetting something.
Hang on.
Prime. That's right.
Prime, yep.
If you're an Amazon Prime member and you get a free subscription, you can give it to us if you want to support the channel.
Yep, you can give us a subscribe. You can donate bits, donations to the stream. We do not, Shanky and I do not take the bits and donations money. We actually distribute those amongst the players you see on our streams. The subscriptions go to us, to the channel, but the bits and donations go directly to the players. So if you enjoy the content that we provide and the role play that we do, if you want to help contribute to, costs or anything like that, you can subscribe or donate.
Yep.
And we will make sure it goes to the appropriate people.
Yep, because we like to share back with the players. I mean, players have been pretty good. I know a lot of them had some money, or some of them had money built up, and after the Bluebeard's Bride, they all put it on the cancer charity, which was awesome of them. So that was great.
Which we completely smashed our goal.
Yep.
So it was awesome.
So
look at there.
Oh, look at that. Somebody did subscribe.
Yep.
Thank you
for
so much.
Subscribing. We love it.
Shibergain.
We're not here to make money off this. We're not here to make a living.
We do this because we love it. We love sharing stories with people, and we love engaging with our viewers while we watch the stories that we've done.
Yep. But, it shows that people like
and
what we're
thank you
doing.
for the bits.
The players thank you for the bits. I don't get any of it. Curses, but it's okay.
No, Shanky's got to buy all my shit, so.
I have to buy her drinks and shit. Hey, you're not filthy, Macabre Derek. For those that don't know, Macabre Derek puts on a dark, visceral Detroit overhaul game right now. And,
look at that. We've got a hype train.
Hype train, everybody. Do catch Macabre Derek's game on 8:30 Eastern. I'm telling you, it's dark. If you want to go the darkest of vampire,
I like to get the emotes, so I'll contribute to that.
So, we love that one. But we're going to have to hang around now for 4 more minutes because we got a hype train going. So, any of the players got something they want to say, can talk about, because I talk too much.
If you really haven't experienced Mac until you've experienced him off Twitch terms of service.
I'm sure.
That's when he's at his finest.
You haven't seen Shaky till you've been on our Discord and joined one of our community Zoom nights. Where
Jesus Christ. The filter goes off and it's just no holds barred. And I'm oftentimes like this. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Every week on our Discord, we have a Zoom night where I start up a Zoom link and members of the Discord can join.
We try to do it once a week.
Because, it's COVID, people are isolating, people are getting tired of being cooped up, not seeing their friends. So we started doing that. So if you're on our Discord, watch for those links. You will hear the unfiltered Shanky, and it is unfiltered as shit. I admit that.
Yeah, definitely come out. Come
Macabre Derek says he wants to be in a game with Shanky to see how far he'll go.
It depends on the game and the character I'm playing.
And it depends on if it's on Twitch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh, we just made a level 2 hype train. Holy crap.
Oh my God.
I think some people really want to see some Chicago.
I think they want to see some more vampire run by Shanky.
Yeah. Y'all just want me to murder people again. Damn.
Y'all, thank you so much.
Lamar had something to say. What you got?
Go for it.
Next Sunday, be there. Let's get this going and stay out of the way of our future.
That's right.
For those that weren't part of the casting process, it was about 2 months total from when we closed the applications, because we closed it at the end of July.
Mm-hmm.
2 months before, about the end of September is when we were finally getting done the interview shit. So it was a 2-month process to work through everybody.
Oh my God, it was insane.
But
I had on a whiteboard a chart. Because I'm the one that keeps shit organized.
Because, I mean, the hardest part as a gamer, I can tell you.
Oh, thank you so much for the sub, Primal Platypus.
The hardest part as a gamer, as an adult, even not an adult, hell, because I'm not really an adult, is scheduling.
Yeah.
Finding a time you can get a group of people together to play. And when you do a stream, consistently get together to play.
Yep.
That's pain in the ass. It makes it difficult. Luckily, Monday night was a good day to record for
everybody.
A lot of people.
Thank God.
Everybody. Yep. And it was really fortuitous because I just started a new job. I got let go of my job in March, and I just started a new job last week. And I'm in orientation. And this coming week, I was supposed to be going over an hour away to a hospital for orientation just for the week to learn to do the job I'm going to be doing locally once I'm done. And it ended up where the person who was at the hospital tomorrow isn't able to orient because she's too new. So I get to work from home tomorrow and not have to be tired from a long commute and then play.
Oh, but you're more fun when you're tired. Get her when she's tired.
Oh, when I'm tired, I do crazy shit.
Yeah, I could have done that.
Not
and I know
that
a long
I know
time.
anything about you doing crazy shit in Vampire.
Oh no,
I know
not me.
Early in the chat, somebody had mentioned about costuming. I will be in my normal storyteller costume.
We will
thank
all
you, Derek,
be
for
costumed.
the bits.
Thank
the
you
players,
so much.
The players, thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
I will be in my storyteller's costume with my signature top hat. It's around
I
here
will be
somewhere.
appropriately dressed.
I will be dressed. Jackie's not a redhead. For once, I'm playing a vampire that isn't a redhead. I actually have a brunette wig that I'll be wearing.
My hair is almost long enough for me to pull.
Gotta see if I can get my hands on it.
I have my suit ready.
I'm trying to get my hair long enough to pull the Gary Oldman Dracula look with the hat on.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, I did kind of
He looks like Prince Valiant
in another game. I guessed it in.
That's to my wife.
That was so
Behind every bird's a pile of shit, baby.
Yeah.
You married him.
I sure did.
It's kind of like, 10,000 wild horses couldn't pull this arm down, and then like one of my godchildren will pull my arm down, but one jackass can.
You can. Hey, my motto is I can lead a horse to water, but I can't make a jackass drink.
Or if
that's what she tells me often.
Jokes, you can just say I can lead a horse to water, but I can't beat it to death.
I mean, you can. I've beaten this Shanky horse into the ground. I've run this gimmick a while now as Shanky, and it's not ending. I'm just beating that gimmick dead. It's fine.
He's dragging that dead horse.
Yep. Oh,
just
Astro says I got
to put it in someone's bed just to freak him out for fun.
Astro says keep the hat on. Okay, we're at the end. We're doing a hype train. I will put on the hat for the hype train.
Got to get a Cubs cap.
Just wait. I'm not going to be wearing my glasses.
Sox, man. Come on.
I'm going to use my new contacts for the stream when we record it, which are green on a green screen.
Oh,
those ones you showed.
No, necromancy. I see Max put in there reduce, reuse, reanimate. Yeah.
Which means when I do this, you're going to see my eyes through the, or see my background through my eyes. It's going to look creepy as shit. Because, oh, look, Relin shared and gave money. Look at that. She gave my money.
I had bits. I had bits.
Level 2 hype train.
Now we're 63% through level 68. Jesus. What are y'all doing? We were about to end the stream, and now we're still got another 4.5 minutes.
77's better.
Y'all going to keep me on stream all night. I'm sure the players will like it. They'll be buying a coffee or whatever.
You can't leave, is what Ivy Raven says.
Look, for those that haven't heard me talk before, I have imposter syndrome. My stomach is really nervous before every stream. I don't eat the day of a stream. I have not eaten today. I will not eat until the stream is over. Y'all keeping me here all night. I'm going to waste away to nothing. Just literally just fall. No, it's not that bad. I can go a day or two without eating.
And Lady Mirrorwhip just sobbed. So now we're on a level
Just
4.
start it over again.
Well, I clicked the button before Shanky was saying that he was going to starve,
It's
and now
okay.
I feel
actually-
bad.
All jokes aside, I normally only eat one meal a day anyway.
And that's normal
I
for
normally
him. So
only
don't
eat
let
dinner.
him try to get your pity.
I normally eat a 4,000 or 5,000 calorie dinner, so it's okay.
So
You wonder
you
why
just
I'm not
eat 3
800
jelly
pounds.
beans and you're good.
For the price of one coffee a day, you can feed a hungry Shanky.
That's right.
It's funny you mentioned that. I actually talked about at one point doing during our break video, shooting a spoof video of the old for $1 a day you could feed a starving
I
kid.
was going to be the Kendra version of Sally Struthers.
And do one
Lamar, I didn't know you
for
had
one
such a
pint a
good Sally
day.
Struthers.
You can feed a hungry kindred. I was thinking of
For
doing a
one
whole
pint a
spoof
day.
video of that. So at some point, I probably will have to do that now because
Yes. For just 5 bits a day, you can
Oh
feed
my gosh.
starving Shanky.
yep,
Mm.
for just one Amazon Prime subscription a month, Shanky can have a whole liter of blood.
What he does with that liter of blood? Well,
I put it
act
on myself. I put it on myself when the Jehovah's Witnesses come to the door.
Yeah.
someone
myself in
split
blood.
the goat.
No, have you embraced the Lord? Well, yeah, just recently. Can you come in for a minute? We got to talk. Yep, that. Something funny. I'm an asshole in real life.
Someone get
I
the
get it.
chickens.
No, instead I just show them my sign. I don't knock on my door to talk about Jesus. I don't knock on your door to talk about wine and dildos.
She has that. That is an actual sign. She has that on a sign. Yes. That is not a joke. She's serious.
I legit have that on a sign.
She hangs it up sometimes, but when we know certain people are coming over, she has to
I have
take
to
it
take
down
it down.
because then they'll never come over our house again. Which in some cases might be more useful, but
Potentially.
I got to remember though, I have to change some of our graphics for subscribing and following because I still have a Lady Mirrorwith.
Yes, we got to do the thumbs up by
I still have that saved on my hard drive.
and I'm sure we will get more as we play this stream.
Oh, I'm sure. I am
We will
like,
get probably ones of everybody.
oh yeah, and I am like Lord of making weird faces, so I
My
expect there will
camera
be
has
many.
not frozen in months, thankfully, so you won't get another one of these.
Somebody clip it.
Well, we already have that. I mean, that's literally
I know,
our
I know.
subscriber- our,
That's the tooth banging.
yeah, that's the follow video.
Mhm. That's the tooth banging.
That one right there was like, so you've decided to attack the Bruja Primogen.
Excellent.
That was, I
Bruja
wasn't even doing
Now.
anything. I was just letting them, they were role playing amongst themselves. So I was just sitting there vaping away. And my camera at the time, the USB port was kind of wonky on that motherboard. So randomly it would lock up. And I was apparently locked up that way for 2 minutes until Locke told us I was locked up. And she told me by getting her camera out and taking a picture of her screen. And I'm like, she goes, oh, you've been frozen like that 2 minutes. I had to get a picture of it.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. You've just instigated your own mugging. Come on down.
Oh, Derek, this group, you missed the beginning, but this group has 2 ex-Sabat players.
Yeah, 2 Exabot
Oh,
players.
he's aware of my.
Yeah.
A Toreador who's been
Scoretrix.
raised by a Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
An ex-mage, he was awakened as a mage who got embraced. And then you have nice little Eleanor. And then you have Jackie, who snubs fucking Victoria Ash every chance she gets.
And reports to a Justicard.
And reports to her Justicard. This is all fucking problems in this group.
I mean, I see nothing wrong with me having my Revenant family either. There's
Yeah, no, there's no
only good
problems
can come
there.
from this.
They're only creepy and disgusting, but
Yeah,
you know, it's
seriously.
fine.
But yeah, this is going to be. I'm letting everybody know this is not going to be a game with. It's not a bunch of laughs and jokes at the
No.
table.
No.
If a character is finding something funny, there'll be laughs. But we don't do table talk. And I run a. Started DC was campy. The end of DC was not. This one is not going to be campy at all. I'm going to start dark, and I'm going to keep dark. It is going to just be. I'm going to be brutal. Ease up a little, brutal some more. Ease up, brutal. I think we're going to have to get out of here now because
We are.
Lynn is cooking.
I
can see.
am literally melting. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Hot flash.
We received, there was 3,000 bits during that hype train.
3,500, I think.
3,050.
3,050, okay.
The players, that's going to get divided by the 5 players here.
Mm-hmm.
So you bought them all Starbucks.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's how we do it to give back to the players because without players, this wouldn't be a channel.
That's
It'd just be me and Verlin arguing, and it would get real bored.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
Or it might not. It might be very hilarious for most of y'all because our bantering and arguing is actually funny.
We did a board game night for a while. We streamed the board games, and it was just Verlin and I playing board games, and not as many people wanted to see that as vampires.
I guess not.
It was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
That was just because you made bear puns the whole time.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you so much for the bits, donations, and subs. We really appreciate that.
And
we will see you for this stream, 5 p.m. Eastern, Sundays, starting November 1st. So next weekend.
Yep.
But in the meantime, Tuesday night, 8 p.m., Haunted Chronicles Dark Waters, which is a 7th Sea pirate game. It is fantastic. Yep. Tune in for that. And then on Saturday at 1 o'clock, we have Call of Cthulhu, a special one-shot called Across the Causeway, run by Tiss. And I can't wait because I've heard she's an amazing Call of Cthulhu GM, so I can't wait to see it.
So good night, everybody.
Good night.
See you later.
Good night.
Hi, everybody.